Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I want to do the last question from the June 2024 Regents exam. This is question number 35. Um, this is a word problem. They like to have word problems. Usually it's a system of a linear equations. So kind of once you know that, it's there's usually two ways that they can go, and I'm going to kind of briefly cover both ways. Um, so let me jump into this. So on my iPad, um, you see it says, uh, I'm going to go straight to the part that I want you guys to focus on. It says a system of equations, but this is almost always going to be a system of linear equations. I've never seen where they use quadratics in the linear. A system is basically just two or more equations. But when we're talking algebra, it's usually two linear equations. Now, the thing that you got to realize is that there's basically two ways that they can do this problem. They can either give you two equations in the um, slope-intercept form, right? So you have to know the slope and you have to know the y-intercept for both of those, the two equations. But what they really like is they like to use one where it's in standard form, and that's what this one is. And so what I want to show you is when it's in standard form, these word problems are very easy to set up and also very easy to solve. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. So let me erase this part and let me read this. It says, Courtney went to a coffee shop to purchase lattes and donuts for her friends. One day she spent a total of $15.50 on 4 lattes and 2 donuts. The next day she spent a total of $18.10 on 3 lattes and 5 donuts. All the prices included tax. That's just kind of a throwaway sentence. It doesn't really mean anything. It says, if X represents the cost of one latte and Y represents the cost of one donut, write a system of equations that can be used to model this situation. Now, I just said that this is going to be two linear equations, and there's two ways that you can do it. There's two formats. Either you're going to use the slope-intercept form or you're going to use the standard form, and we are going to be using the standard form. So let me show you exactly what you need to do. First thing, when you find the variables, it says X represents the cost of one latte. So wherever you see latte, you're going to replace it with an X. So you're going to go here and it says spent a total of $15.50 on 4 lattes. So I'm going to put an X there. And then it says it spent $18.10 on 3 lattes. So I replaced the latte with the variable that it stands for. So X is lattes. And then you're going to do the same thing for the donut. So wherever you see donut, you're going to replace it with the letter Y. So it says 2 donuts here, so I'm going to put a Y in there. And then this one says 5 donuts, so I'm going to put a Y in there. Now, at this point, it's just a standard linear equation. What you see is what you get. It's not difficult to come up with the equation. So here's how you do it. We know there were 4 lattes, so it's going to be 4X's and 2 donuts. So there's going to be 2Y's. And it says it costs $15.50. So that's your equation. That's it. That's an easy setup. Then you're going to do the same thing for the other equation. You need to have two equations because you have two variables. All right, so the next equation is going to be 3 lattes, so 3X's plus 5 donuts. So we're going to say plus 5Y. And the total cost that we spent was $18.10. Now, that's the two equations that you need. And these are in standard form. The AX plus BY equals constant. AX plus BY equals constant. These, now they're usually, this is usually the format that they have on the word problems. But they could also, as I mentioned, they could also have the slope-intercept form. But now, so if you do this, if you come up with those two equations, you're going to get 2 points. Now, the next thing is they almost always ask you a question about what the price is. Somebody thinks it's this price, and they're saying, "Is that person correct?" So in this problem, they said Courtney says one latte costs $2.75, and one donut costs $2.25. Is she correct? Well, the only thing you need to do is use your equations and plug these numbers in and see if you get these values. Now, what I would recommend, since there are two equations, they both have to be true. I would say start with the second one, because sometimes the first one will be true, but the second one won't. So always try the second one first. So I'm going to use this one here, and I'm just going to plug in those numbers. So it's going to be 3, and I'm going to put in the cost for a latte that Courtney said, that's 75, plus 5 donuts, and the price that she said for a donut was $2.25. Now, it's supposed to be $18.10, but let's calculate it and see if she was right. So all we're going to do now is go use the calculator. Where is it? Where's my calculator? Right here. I am going to go to the home screen, and let me go menu 15 and get rid of this. So I'm just going to put that $3 times 275, right? And parentheses, and then I'm going to do plus, and then I'm going to do $5 times 225, because that's how much he said a donut costs. And I'm going to see how much this costs. Okay, so this is saying that's going to be $19.50. Now, so if I go back, I can answer the question now. That is not equal to 1810, so Courtney is not correct. Those prices don't work. It's 1950, not 1810, so those prices don't work. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, those prices don't work. So we can say Courtney is not correct. And the work that we did is showing that. So this, if you did this, that would be 2 points. Oops, let me go back. I didn't have that showing. So I said Courtney is not correct. And what we have here is we showed the work. We showed that it would be $19.50. That's not equal to the 1810, which we predicted. So that's the proof. Now, the last thing we're going to do, it says use your equations to determine algebraically. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to cover systems of equations, solving them algebraically. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to solve it graphically by just using the graphing calculator. We're going to put these two equations in, and we're going to find the intersection. And once we find the intersection, that's going to give us the X and Y coordinate, which is going to be the latte price and the donut price. So let's do that. So now I'm going to go to the graph. Let me get rid of all of this. This will be menu 14. Okay, that's gone. Now, whenever you have an X and a Y, you have to use the relation mode. So I'm going to delete the equal sign. I'm going to go to 6. And then I'm just going to type in those two equations. The first one that I have is 4x plus 2y is equal to $15.50. Press enter. There's my equation. I'm going to pull this down a little bit so you can see it better. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Enter the second one. The second one is 3 lattes plus 5 donuts equals $18.10. We do that. And there's our second linear equation. We know there are going to be lines. Now, here is the answer right here. All we have to do now is just do menu 64 and 6 and then 4 and then start to the left, pull it to the right. So here are the prices. So the X coordinate is $2.95. So that's the price of a latte, and $1.85. That's the price of a donut. So that's what we would write. We would say X equals $2.95 and Y equals $1.85. Boom. Now, Because we did not do this algebraically, we're only going to get 1 point, but that's okay. This is a 6-point question. If we can consistently get 4 to 5 points on these kinds of questions, we're in good shape. We'll be in very good shape. So let me go back through it. A lot of times the equations, the system is just going to be in standard form. And wherever you see the word, you're going to replace it with the variable. And then you just come up with the two equations. And then you're going to graph it and find the intersection. And that's going to tell you the prices that you need. And then also, they usually have a question where you just have to plug in the numbers that they give you and see if they work. And in this case, it didn't. But these kinds of questions, I hope we see in August, because I think that you guys should be able to get, again, at least 4 to 5 of those points. So that's the goal. All right, I'm going to sign off and post this.